What is going on? Yeah, there you go. Still playing the music. I have expected to see Shelby like jamming out there, doing a little bit of drum something,
Little Dave Grohl action.
Yeah. I was
I only play real ones. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
No air guitar for me.
Slapping the bass.
How you guys all doing today?
Great.
Good.
Yeah. I'm excited. Because we're about to jump into my favorite story arc of Pitt, and I was telling Steve this. This is probably the one I've read the most. So my books actually look a little beat up. I might have to buy a bunch of new ones because, they're looking a little worn there. But welcome everybody to another Appreciating Comic Book Art live. This is number 2. Last week was awesome. We had a lot of people tune in. Thank you so much for everybody that checked it out, that subbed to the channel. It was beyond fun looking at issues 1 through actually half through 4. It was a great time having John on here talking about the art. Steve being the representation of the new reader, the new fan of the book was really cool. And as always, my brother Sean Ahrendt on here just doing his sexy thing like he usually does. It was really cool.
Brag.
Yeah. Some might brag, but not you. Well, we got Jon Malin returning, so thank you so much. And we got Shelby Robertson jumping in here because I know that he was really into issue 5, like I am. Issue 5 and 6, probably one of my favorites. So let's say hi to the chat real quick. I know that Shelby was one of the first ones here. He wondered why I put his name so it looked like Pitt was stepping on his name. I didn't do that intentionally. I didn't do that intentionally, but I think it works. That's
why you got to bribe the host.
Yeah. What's going on, Jamie? Good to see you. Good to see you. We got Robert Frank in the house. What's going on, Robert? Jaro? I don't know if I ever pronounced that right.
It's murder.
We got Jeremy Lord Crackhead. What's going on, brother?
Hey, Jeremy.
We got Rich Ayala's Roach Balls. That's the best I can pronounce that with illiterate as I am. Black Rose Comics, what's going on, brother? We got Rick, the Mighty Rick, Sailor in the house. Snuggy Jr., what's going on, Snuggy? Got Amanda B, good to see you. Got Eric Hutfuls. God, I suck at pronouncing shit. I really do. It's embarrassing to me. It's embarrassing. We got Crazy Mad. What's going on, Crazy? See, I think Jay Dollar Sign. How's it going, brother? Leandro, the star of Viking Wolf, gracing us with his presence. Jasper Plan 9, who hit me up and said he's got his issues. He read them. He's all ready for the night. That is awesome. It's awesome to me to see that so many people are getting into these old issues of Pitt, also going out and buying them or just breaking them out of the collection and reading them again. Crazy Mad. We got Ryan Blue Thunder. Oh, man. I think that's Humi. Humi's in the house. All right. I think we are caught up. Good to see everybody. Thank you for joining us. So, before we go too much further, Steve, why don't you give us a rundown of what we covered last week as far as story-wise and what we're jumping into tonight as I change my camera.
Sounds good. So we covered initially the first half issue, which is found at the back of Youngblood 4. Came out as a reprint a little bit later on under the Full Bleed imprint. But it covers up the initial story arc of issues kind of half through 4. Talks about how Pitt got to Earth. He is a half alien, half human super killing machine that crash lands on Earth, kind of gets into some fights, but sets up his initial conflict. It has a connection to a younger boy, which is by the name of Timmy, and is hanging out with his grandpa and gets kind of thrown into a crazy fight in the middle of a subway. His great artifact of a Mario Lemieux stick is broken, but Pitt kind of respects that Timmy stepped up to the plate to knock off one of the bad guys that was giving his grandpa a hard time. Then we kind of go into the storyline itself of, just Pitt hanging out on Earth, having a connection to Timmy, not really understanding what that's all about. We find out that he was working for the bad guys, which are known as the Creed, which are these intergalactic baddies that want to take over Earth and are slowly trying to just conquer the galaxy, but are being thwarted by Jarib and a couple of these other kind of ethereal aliens. And they kind of waken up Pitt a little bit from his Weapon X programming, if you will. They give him like the little wake-up call. So Jarib's hanging out inside Pitt, goes to Earth. Jarib goes inside Timmy, we find out that the other half of the alien cocktail that's Pitt is their big bad, which is known as Xiphoid. So, Pitt's hanging out. There's a little bit of a breakdown. Xiphoid tries to send some intergalactic bounty hunters. They get into another fight in the subway. That gets a little awry. Timmy and the grandpa are going back to hang out at a cabin out in the little boony area of New York. And that's when the FBI shows up to check on Timmy and the grandpa. And then Xiphoid manifests. And then Pitt fights his father figure, if you will, gets help from Timmy. And that's the end of the first story arc. We leave Pitt wanting to make sure that Timmy's safe. Timmy has that spirit inside of him that's kind of this force for good. And Xiphoid is now gunning for both of them.
Yeah, it was a real fun story, in my opinion. Like, it was, as a kid, like I've said this before, like I didn't really care about story so much as long as the art was badass. But I always thought that the story of Pitt was really cool.
Yeah. And on this cover, it's clear that Dale Keown is a show-off. Like, look how good I can draw this hand.
Yeah. This was actually one of my favorite covers because simple as it might be as far as just a hand, there's so much crazy detail with the amount of blood. This was one of the, I don't know if I ever tried to emulate it as an artist, but what's going on, Derek? But this is one of my favorite covers that he did. And sometimes that goes back to like the Greg Capullo aspect that he's said before, that, like the simple kind of covers a little bit more, draw you in a little bit more than maybe some of the old time story covers that could, and I get both arguments here, but give me a simple cover like this that just shows me some badass artwork and you're like, all right, some shit's going to go down in this issue. All right, this is as good as fucking Logitech. I'll tell you what, as much as Logitech is supposed to be this awesome thing, it has given me nothing but headaches since I've got it. If anybody else has another camera out there you can recommend, I might look into getting it.
Or a mic for myself.
Or a mic for Sean. Yep, absolutely. All right, let me get some shit out of the way.
Well, mics, I think people are getting those Yetis or something like that. I got mine at Best Buy, like $100 or something like that.
Yeah, mine
That's
too.
not bad. I gotta see if it's compatible with the iPad.
Yeah, Samsung G-Track Pro is what I got. That was a couple years ago.
Oh, damn. And Dino says, with Keown art and CG, Malin is third string, second to Cecil. Oh, wow. Wow. Speaking of
Cecil's chest hair swiggles are pretty impressive.
Speaking of which, before we jump into the art here, John, have you met Dale yet? Are you still being gate kept? What's going on with that? What's going on with that stuff? That saga?
I'm still being gay kept from Dale Keown. Look, the guy is begging to meet me. I understand it. And, Ethan's keeping a true bromance apart.
Yep.
You found out who your friends are.
Yeah. It's a sad thing. It's a sad day.
And you're just getting ridiculed, too. Cat Pappy was just sitting there going, hey, you still haven't talked to him yet, have you?
Yeah. Well, you know how Cat Pappy is. On my last nerve.
Have you ever met Dale before, John?
No.
Okay, so this is truly like being held back.
Yeah. It's like I've been jerking off for X amount of decades and not allowed to come.
It's like the opposite of Make-A-Wish, like, come on.
Yeah. Everybody's got your back in the chat, that's for sure. Yep. All right, let's jump into it. We got Dale Keown on story and art. We got Joe Chiodo is doing the colors again. Script, we have Brian Hutton. And Chance Wolf, by the way, I didn't mention this last time, but did the awesome logo to this book. He did Max as well. He did a bunch of other logos too in the 90s, but he always had that like cool 90s flavor.
Is that a real name?
Chance Wolf?
Yeah.
Wolf.
I believe it's yeah, I think it's his real name.
He also, a lot of people don't know this, but Chance was a unaccredited inker on tons of Spawn. I think he did a bunch of the Pitt pages as well, just unaccredited. He's gotten around. He's super talented.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think he even did some of the inks on the last Snake Eyes that just came out too, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
Yeah, it was an iconic logo for sure. But this is one of the things I liked about this issue is that we get Dale getting back to Blur is gonna really bug the piss out of me. Getting back to inking his own work, and this has got a lot more of that kind of like heavy inks, dark flavor that we saw in issue 1 that kind of dropped off there for a little bit in some of the other issues.
We find out that good old Bobby, the detective that was looking into the whole sewer subway incident, actually works for a clandestine organization full of other superheroes hanging out in New York, and she's chilling there giving the debrief about all things Pitt.
Can't
What's going
trust
on,
women.
Mel's Movies and Brewskis? Yeah, so this was the image I used for the banner, and I got Pitt stepping on Shelby's name, which was completely by accident there. But the reason why I chose
that's before Jim Lee swiped him for Batman.
You know what? I didn't see that until right now. You're right. That's a complete swipe.
Yeah. Somebody
hashtag that. Let's get it trending on Twitter. Yeah, absolutely.
Justice for Dale.
Justice for Dale. What I loved about this though is it's a very, for one, it's a 90s, a classic 90s pose, but it just kind of goes, I can't help but think about what Dale was talking about on EVS stream not too long ago, when it's just like the stoic look of Pitt, like this really sells the aspect. And the lighting, again, just like we said on some of the other issues, I think is awesome. I love the palette that Joe Chiodo chooses, especially with night scenes when it comes to this. Just great colors.
Mm-hmm.
And we get the little payoff from the half issue, which is that whole crazy werewolf storyline.
Oh, yeah, we didn't cover that because I didn't care about the art in it not being Dale, but you're right. That was the kind of the intro to that character. Again, just same thing with what Dale was doing with the first few issues. You got to have some really kind of badass splash pages like this, and just, again, great at drawing big characters in a bigger scale like that. Which, again, like I'll say, I know John was saying his process might have been draw small, blow it up, like a lot of guys did in the 90s. But still, I think that, perspective-wise, drawing something that big is still a hard thing to do and keep the perspective looking good.
And then she werewolves out, which this kind of reminded me a lot of the scene when Conan finally gets free in Conan the Barbarian. And then there's that sorceress chick that's like inviting him in, and she looks like one thing and then turns into this crazy demonic, crazy ass monster that's about to jump on him and bite the crap out of him.
No, she was on him. They were banging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He got it in.
Yeah.
He got it in. Yep.
Threw her into the fire pit.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been the only upgrade he could have done in this part was have a little bit more of that aspect. But the one thing I always liked about this was cool is that you really leaned into a little bit of the horror aspect, and you pulled off on the detail quite a bit and just did a lot of blacks using the eyes glowing red, just kind of pop everything out. Mm-hmm. It really kind of sold that character as being like this crazy threat without having to chock full stuff of detail. But man, look at that. Look at that shot right there. Gums.
Yeah.
Right, John?
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm always appreciative of the upper gums that Dale Keown draws. And but yeah, the amount of blacks that are thrown back in here really set it off back to, like you were saying, issue one and maybe 2, I think it was. And before all the other inkers stepped in and started doing their thing.
Yeah.
So
and that jaw is like crazy. Like the full extent of that werewolf jaw is like so hyper animated. It reminds me of like Fright Night. When you had the Marcy Darcy character get turned into the vampire, and she has that crazy, like, over-the-top jaw.
Yeah, or Demon Knight, Tales from the Crypt, when that kid kind of opens up.
Well, this is when John spits the truth. It's ready to go.
Metal Movies and Brewski said it reminds me of The Howling. Yeah, it does kind of, and that's another thing too. Like I've said before about the '90s books, is they pull a lot of the pop culture aspects of stuff and put them into their books. So this very well could have been an or American Werewolf in London. When we talked about that last time too, with the werewolves and stuff.
But I love that upper right panel where like Pitt kind of senses something was wrong. He's like, "What the hell? Wait, I better go back and check up on this." Like.
Chauncey said, I think Liefeld snatched the wolf look for Warwolf's transformation in Youngblood 10. I'll have to go look back at that. And, back in the day, people were taking a lot of stuff from what they saw from their peers. I think it was just something that they did, not necessarily ripping anybody off, but just adding it to what they do. This, again, another giant double-page spread. Fuck. Detail and energy. Just fucking amazing.
Yeah, incredible. And then you see just how big that wolf is, man. Again, like even in one of those other issues we talked about, he was taking on another guy that was, almost at like twice his size and just, clobbers him. It's great. It's great visual for a threat.
Now, Shelby,
it's what I imagine the midgets see when I attack them.
Poor midgets. Mm-hmm. Now, Shelby, I know you said that this was one of your favorite issues. What really drew you to this issue of Pitt specifically?
Oh, the cover, man.
No, yeah.
He drew. First of all, he drew. I mean, he drew a hand, right? He's got rim lighting, blood. Has a lot of. This cover honestly reminds me a lot of. Oh, geez. There's another piece that I'd seen in the 80s that reminded me of. It's not Web of Spider-Man. There's something about it that with the way he drew the blood, like hyper detail.
Oh, yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You know what? I think I'm thinking of there's a Bernie Wrightson prestige format book that had come out, and it was a Spider-Man book that's pretty rare. And he did a lot of stuff that was like that. And I kind of feel like he was possibly channeling that a little bit, but yeah, anytime you can pull off fades and detail and have a ton of breaks in it, we all know how long that takes, right. Just, on the artistic side, it's like hours. Like there's no way he finished that cover in one day.
Shelby likes rimming lighting, folks, says Jasper Plan 9. Yeah, that's no ginger root hand.
Someone pointed out the chains, and that's a great point, because Spawn and Pitt, man, that was it. Like that was like the thing. Kids in the 90s were learning to draw chains.
Yeah.
Does anyone any kids drawing chains now? I'm not sure they are.
Well, chains kind of went out of style a little bit, but they're also not that easy to draw. And have when they're wrapped up like that. Like I've drawn Pitt a couple times, and did the chains thing, and it was like the most pain in the ass thing to do. I was like, why the fuck did they decide to do the chains? And I think actually, if you look later on in the series as we'll go, you see that Dale kind of got rid of the chains after not all of them, but he got rid of the amount of chains that he would put on Pitt.
20% less chains.
Yeah, just a little bit. But again, some great choreographed action scenes. A lot of power in these scenes. It's kind of not a lot of speed lines, so to speak, but just a state
you get that it's like a slow kind of ferocious fight. Like this isn't really like a speed fight, because she kind of like caught him off guard. Like I like that upper left panel where it's just like mostly like the werewolf body biting down on him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this kind of really sells just like the impact of this. Almost kind of like we were talking about in issue 2 when he hit that big rock dude. And it was just a really cool pose that showed the guy basically being knocked out as he's falling, or maybe dead. But Dale was just great at visually putting this stuff together.
Yeah, I like just that whole scene on the left-hand page, though, because he's chomping down on his head. And then in panel 2, it doesn't even look like any of the teeth are breaking. So it's almost like, adamantium teeth or something. It's super strong. So, great sequence throughout that.
Then I kind of like it's his version of a werewolf. Like it's not totally kept with the literal kind of front canine bit. It's kind of like this over kind of hyper ferocity.
I mean, you got to sell the wolf aspect there. Good time, Johnny said Rob Willis did a pit commission for me last year, and he complained about the time and detail it went into doing the chains. Yeah, so I'm not the only one. Emperor J Bomba fans in the house, rocking those. Yeah,
yeah, we talked about that last time. Eddie Brock's son took over the symbiote, and he added chains, and it was the worst bit of dialogue in Venom 200. He's like, "Oh, you added chains. Well, it's your Venom now. I'm going to leave." It's kind of like Poochie on The Simpsons. He went back to his home planet. Like, you get to be Venom. You make Venom the way you want.
Yeah, I mean, does Venom really need chains? I don't understand that aspect, but
so I guess he's not using webs now. I guess he's going to be using the chains.
I don't even want to talk about that. I just don't know. Ja Rule says, so does anyone draw big behemoths smashing into each other better than Keown? I would say no. Yeah, yep, absolutely not.
Straight up, nope.
Yes, he did.
What's up, Eddie?
Well,
And again, another note on the coloring. I think this whole sequence here is essentially use the orangish reddish background there and keeping that energy up. And then when we get to the wolf on the far right, like he's got that red lighting on him. It looks wicked.
That I was just gonna say that is wicked as hell.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why I liked this run, and Pit 1, but like specifically Dale's heavy inks and then Chiodo's color palette with this dark stuff, and it just the night aspect of things just really made this a unique kind of feel. Like it's just the colors just really make everything pop. Shit. I mean, I remember
That
this
pose.
being, one of the classic kind of
like poster,
come get me
cutout
poses. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that deserved to be a 24x36.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And this would become like the pose that you would see Dale kind of put Pitt in a lot in different drawings, but it always looked cool.
Is the watch right next to it almost in like the exact same pose that ad?
Well, I think that's the one from 3 when he's confronting those. You can't really see it because it's gonna blur out when he's confronting the hunters in the woods.
Like, you can run now.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, this should have been a poster if it wasn't, because that's just a classic shot. And one thing that drawing big characters, and maybe John Shelby, you can kind of talk about proportions when it comes to selling like the big aspect of characters. But Dale always had the skinny waists and the shorter lower bodies, and the arms just like would go way down, and just kind of really sell that bigger top portion of the body.
Yeah, it's a hairless chimp.
Well, does
And
anybody
noseless. No nose.
does anybody remember the Wizard how-to magazine or the books that they would put out? And Dale had a section in there, and it was all about proportions of bigger characters, and he kind of talked about like Pitt or the Hulk, of why his thought process in drawing the massive arms and the smaller bodies to really just sell the scale of the character.
No, I'd like to see it though.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to dig it out. I got those somewhere. Something I love, and if anybody has seen any of my appreciating comic book art videos where I've just kind of gone over stuff in the past, I've always been a real big fan of being able to pull off a silhouette panel like that. But the added blood, really kind of makes it all pop. And if you do it wrong, it can look cheesy. And the guys that do it right, Dale, Frank Miller, like all the guys that can really lean into silhouette panels, can really make something like this look really, really cool. That's just an awesome shot of a death blow.
Yeah, is that in that first silhouette panel? Is that blood on his chest that was colored gray? What is that splotch? It's hard for me to make out.
That looks
Those are
like
the chains on his. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I don't know why this isn't as focused as it was last week. But yeah, those are the chains. And again, just if I had the space, well, I mean, shit, I could do whatever I want when you're doing your own comic book. But the thought process that Dale always gave us great, every issue, multiple great double page spreads like this is, I wish you would see more of that today in today's age. And I know we get to see that kind of stuff with Shelby's Rich Tality and John's, I'm sure, like Godlike is going to have a lot of double page spreads going into it. So that's awesome to see. But like this was something that was awesome about the 90s. It kind of went away. I don't know if it's for storytelling wise or it's just, you know, the writers took over. But when an artist would lay out stuff, they would always give us really awesome, detailed double page spreads like this. And this is what sells the book to me. Like those are the panels that you remember years later when you come back to read it again.
Well, the power with a great double page spread, especially like this one, is, you know, it's the experience that you're having when you're a kid, primarily, that, you know, you're sitting there with that, you know, what are in your lap, and you open up. I mean, that's falling right in your lap. It's right there, you know, that big fucking head, and you're like, God damn, like you can't get any closer to your junk.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, and I dug this like to the point where it's like, you know, like it was kind of like a one-sided fight because he was caught off guard, and then you get the finishing blows at the end, and then you get to see this massive, you still get to see the scale of the size of the werewolf that was trying to jump him, just like strewn out after he's just laid him to waste.
Emperor J. Bomber fan says, has anyone done any classic monsters with real world problems? For example, a werewolf with a tick and flea issue, or Frankenstein who doesn't go out on a Sabbath?
That would be Monster MD by Von Klaus.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
There is the Slender Man who has ED problems.
Oh, jeez.
So one of many issues.
John, we talked about this the last, I don't know if it was the last issue or not, but the lighting of the face, again, Keown and Silvestri, I think some of the best when it comes to stuff like this. I know Shelby does really good when it comes to this cast lighting or whatever on faces as well. Very hard thing to figure out and do it right and not make it look, you know, completely stupid.
Just copy Mark. Just copy Mark, and you'll never go wrong.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
Just copy him forever.
Forever.
No, but in Monster MD, there's a vampire drug dealer.
Oh, okay. Everybody check out Monster MD. So here we end the issue. Steve, who are these characters coming to confront Pitt?
So this is the group. Bobby, the cop from the first story arc, you end up finding out she's kind of like a double agent that's investigating the whole Pitt case and the whole sewer subway attack that happened. But you end up finding out that she's kind of a part of like a superhero government clandestine group called Axiom. And these are like two of the group members, Saurus, and I think it's Kite is the name of the guy.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think so.
Jesus.
Whoa, I didn't mean it like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I was never a big fan of his name, but I always liked Saurus. I thought Saurus was really he
looks
a cool character.
Totally has like A-bomb vibes, but I like that Saurus kind of has like a like kind of like the King Shark mentality from like the newer Suicide Squad, where he's just like simple and his dialogue simple, and you can see it with his captions.
Yeah. A simpleton, yeah, for sure. So that was issue 5, one of my favorites. And actually, all these are. I'm going to say that in every single issue.
I love them.
Yeah, I was just going to say I love them all. Like they're all.
But it's just funny because it's like in a situation where normally somebody would be able to like talk their way out of it. Like Pitt's just like, well, it happened. She was a werewolf, and you know, let's do this. Like he doesn't really give two shits to that point. He's all like, he's not a guy of many words.
Yeah. So we go issue 6. We still have Dale Keown doing his own inks, which I think is the way to go for Dale. I think that there's only a few guys I've seen that ink him really well, Joe Weems being one of them, but I think Dale is the best when he inks himself. There's something about his art that really comes alive when he's doing it inks.
And that down shot is great. Those perspectives are tough and pulled it off. It's awesome.
Yeah, down shots, man, they suck. I try to stay away. I mean, once I get a little bit more experience with doing them, I might really get into doing them. But as artists, guys, is there anything that keeps you away from wanting to do a down shot, dramatic wise, scene wise? What you're thinking when you're staging a shot like this?
How many figures are going to have to be matching that perspective?
Yeah.
I think a down shot, I think that was something that Mignola had a deal with too. Like he tries to avoid them at all costs. So probably for the same reasons.
Yeah, there's a time and a place for bird's eye and even double page splashes. There's, you don't want to overdo it.
Yeah, I think sometimes doing different shots for the sake of doing them can almost hurt the storytelling sometimes instead of just good style storytelling.
Kind of like this moment, like it's a subtle like "don't touch me" moment with Pitt, where he doesn't want to be involved with them, and he does the whole "I'm not your pal."
Yeah. Just
So I'll be honest with you. When I was younger, when this came out, I think this is around the time Dale's stuff started becoming a little bit harder to follow as far as like the flow of the pages, but it didn't really matter because the artwork was badass. But I feel like he was focusing more on the shots versus the flow of the page. Not so much 5. I think it was more so on this issue.
I think that little guy's got some balls though, man. Fucking grabbing Pitt's arm.
Yeah, because I don't know if he's got any like super strength or whatever. But
Go back one page, Joe. Like when you see him grab his arm, like you just, or yeah, that page right there. Like you just see this like tiny little stick in comparison, trying to go, "Hey guy, don't do that." And then he gets into the fight, and then you see Saurus's arm, which is slightly bigger than Pitt's.
Yeah, his arm's about half the size of Pitt's bone.
yeah, I agree with you. I remember Greg Capullo saying he's trying to use a down shot in every page. That's interesting. I had different philosophies, I guess. I know I've heard Jim Lee say he likes to try to use every shot in a page from panel just to move them along in certain pages. So I guess however your philosophy is with storytelling, this fuck. And I'm gonna say that over and over again. Just fuck when I look at something like this. It's just I get sucked into the detail of this. I mean, like look at the fucking veins in his neck. I mean, I love how the buildings and everything just kind of do this classic like 90s fade that they used to do. I know the whole thing about no feet. I mean, we got Pittsburgh right there, but still, like I like this. It's something really cool. It sells it to me. It's like a nostalgic feel. Like I love seeing this kind of stuff.
What's people's obsession with feet?
A lot of feet fetish out there, man.
Yeah,
a lot of feet fetish.
But this was like one of the few times where, like, kind of going back to Hulk, I felt like the Hulk kind of like Abomination vibe in this fight.
Yeah.
Just the way how Saurus is done.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And if anything, that Saurus is more of a Hulk character than like the Pitt look was. Hot damn, that's great work. Bring back such awesome, inspiring memories. Yeah. What's up, Billy? How's it going, brother? Thank you for checking it out. Yeah, I agree, man. Like, inspiring is definitely the word. Good to see you, Billy.
Another image that is falling into your lap.
Yeah,
and Dale said that Billy was his inspiration to kind of go solo.
That's awesome.
Independent creator. So that's what's
on
up.
The whole Flo Bleed route.
Mm-hmm.
Billy was a trendsetter, man. Hey, Billy, if you're not doing anything, you want to jump in here, let me know. I'll shoot you the link. Let's see. Everyone say hi to Billy. Hey, Billy. Yep.
Yes.
Has there ever been? Yes. We were actually just talking. Steve and I were just talking about it before we went live. I think we're going to cover it when we get done with all 20 issues. I'm going to do another episode where we'll kind of cover some of the crossovers that Pitt did with Hulk and with the Darkness was another good one. What are you laughing at, Shelby?
Oh, I'm just laughing at Andino. They said that was my arm. Yeah.
Damn, cold-blooded.
Wow. Modern comics are quiet without sound effects. That's an interesting thing. I heard somebody say the other day about sound effects. Some like them, some people like them, some don't. Like, what do you guys think, John, Shelby, when you're doing your books? I mean, is that like a thing of the old days you don't like anymore, or does it still have a purpose?
Yeah, it's got a purpose.
I use them.
Yeah,
the lettering in these books are really The lettering in these books are really good. I'm just going to point that out. I know no one's talking about it, but the lettering is super nice, and the sound effects.
Yeah,
on the last issue too.
Chris Aliopoulos, I can never pronounce his name.
Eliopoulos, I think.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I can never pronounce it. But yeah,
my point on sound, I was talking about sound effects in my own book when I did Cable, and how I was doing some of them by hand because I just hate fucking computer. When you can do it, you can do it well, but most of them look like fucking shit when they're laid on the page. Like that Brachum up there on panel 1 on the second page.
Yeah.
Like that thing would just be, they would just type that in, lay it on top. Maybe they would cut it out, but it would just, it would have no fucking like soul to it at all. But if you go in there and do it by hand, you can give it a little bit more of an organic feel, build it into the artwork. If you work with a letterer that knows what the fuck they're doing, then great. But if they're just doing it by, just trying to churn out a fucking page every hour,
right,
you're gonna get shit, man. Like you gotta the dialogue you can type in and you can just essentially move with that. I mean, you still have to consider where your word balloons are going so you're not hurting the composition, you're not covering up certain parts of the art. But the fucking sound effects, you got to get in there and love on those sound effects, and you got to make those things not look like you're just fucking typing them in. I mean, Cable had some of the worst fucking sound effects.
Yeah, I always like sound effects in books, and I completely agree when it comes to that. I've seen a lot of books where it just seems like people get away from the sound effects for some reason. I think it's just part of comics, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like solos, like in the late 90s, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and the solos are dead, man.
Yep. I really love the colors in this panel. It's very, all the colors get sucked out. Timmy's the only thing that's actually in real color.
But I like the glare on like the tack goggles on those guys.
Yeah, Chiodo was awesome, man. Is he still coloring?
He's doing like a fan type of thing of recreation of old Wildstorm stuff. I'll get the link. Jamie Mendoza, I believe his name is. It's his YouTube channel. So check that guy out. Yeah,
and everybody's before I forget to mention it too, the She Omnibus is going to be launching, or it did launch. Did I miss the launch of it? But if everybody check that out because I'm really excited about that. Go back that for sure. Is it okay? I didn't think I missed it yet. It's kind of a really cool scene right there. But this is all right. This is what I've been waiting to get to, and I don't know if this is still available. But there was the original color guides to this double page spread that Chiodo was selling. I don't know if it's still available or not, but I wanted to save up some money and get it. It really wasn't all that expensive, but this was one of the things, another one of those double page spreads when I was a kid that I fell absolutely in love with. And it's not like there's a lot of action going on, but just the scene.
This is another one of like his internal monologues because like he's like, I don't got time to fight these guys, so he tunnels away, and so this is him chasing after the ship now.
Yeah, but I mean, just like look at the detail in it. I mean, just the thought to put together a cityscape like that.
You can already
kind of see like ahead of time where he's going to have to traverse to follow the ship.
Yeah.
So like as a reader, you're looking at it like, okay, he's going to jump from there to there. This is kind of like in order to just keep up with the speed to get to Timmy.
John Shelby, I don't know if you guys are particularly like doing cityscapes. I know some people really do, and some people just do them because they're part of what you have to do. But what do you think? Just the layout of that?
It's good. I was thinking about what you were talking about, the color though, because again, great job by Chiodo. The blue in the sky, red is usually used. You want to keep that to your most foreground thing, and he put it in the midground and the foreground. But what he did with Pitt was surprisingly didn't put, I don't think, any red on him, but he still manages to pop out in front of everything, probably because of that really light value on his skin. So have an opportunity to work with a really good colorist like that. I mean, just to make something pop. Any other colorist could have came in here and fucked this whole thing up.
Right.
So yeah, great job on that, because that red, again, for it being in the midground, red is still a very aggressive color. It's blood, it's fire, and it's in the back windows. So it's like, hell yeah, man. Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, there was these issues. Chiodo's work on these early issues of Pitt was just something that is always stuck in my head. Because the colors just make everything work so well. I mean, like this. Let me see if I can back. All right.
As far
This is right.
as far as drawing buildings, though, I'll say, I tend to go from, Rob. I'll be more likely to draw a fucking box with some boxes inside the box. That's the building. But really, I blame Patrick Parnell and Shane Davis because they have 2 books on drawing great architecture that neither of them send me.
Oh no!
Again with
wow,
those guys.
I'm telling you.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah.
I think the truth is coming out.
Just holding you back, John. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, they could send me these books and make me a better artist for everybody, but they don't want you guys to have the best.
I'm not saying it's jealousy, but I'm saying it's jealousy.
Yeah.
I'm definitely thinking there's a conspiracy going on here. Yeah, we're slowly kind of
Subterfuge.
Unearthing this conspiracy for sure.
This page that I kind of dug this like action scene because this was kind of like a Hulk moment again, where he's like traversing the buildings to get up to the plane.
I just love this panel here. It's kind of this goofy panel, but it still looks badass, and that just shows you how awesome of an artist Dale is. Because when you actually look at this panel close up, I get what he's saying. It's just, it's kind of like a Frankenstein moment, but it looks cool. You got the cool lighting by Chiodo, the under lighting, and everything is awesome. I'll never hear me say a bad word about Dale's art because Bancroft can draw some buildings, and he's pretty decent at buildings, man. That's for sure.
Oh, now talking Hulk. There's Hulk.
Yep.
Right?
There you
That's
go.
a McFarlane homage.
Oh, Lee's Wolverine. Yeah. Which is Steve's going to talk about that a little bit later on about the kind of story vibes he got from this whole arc.
Yeah, this issue alone, like because Keown talks about there's like the 3 kind of characters that's the basis of Pitt. You obviously the Hulk, Lobo, and Wolverine, and I felt like he was really hitting home like the Hulk vibe in this issue.
Crazy mad that Jon Malin should teach Shane how to draw.
Maybe if I get those books. Shane actually owes me this oversized. Owes me. He said he made a spectacle. Like, I am going to be so kind. I'm going to send Jon Malin this giant oversized Jim Lee book because he got one for. Eventually, it ended up being free for him. He's like, I'm going to send Jon Malin this for his birthday, and everyone's like, "Yay, Shane! Yay, you're so kind."
Skull claps
Never
all
sent
around.
it. Never sent it.
How generous of you, Cat Pappy.
Yeah.
To educate John in the finer ways of art.
Yeah.
Still waiting.
I got Jasper playing 9 said Joe is Kevin Smith. He'll start crying in the next issue.
Yeah, but Joe knows what he's talking about, and if you look at his tweets, he knows what he's talking about. He's not going to kind of sick backpedal from 10 years ago where I don't know shit about He-Man.
That's a good point. That's a good
Joe's
point.
really a Booth fan. This is just a shtick for everybody.
Rick Saylor said John is getting gatekept all over the place. You're right, Rick. It's true. Look, when you name your book Godlike, people are going to come after you.
Free God.
They're like, oh, John doesn't need this book on architecture right now. No, he doesn't.
He's all-knowing and all-seeing.
Yeah.
That is true. That is a good point. So we're setting up a really cool scene here going into the next issue. I just love
the sheer size of Pitt when he gets into the little axiom like Blackbird.
Yeah. Yep.
That's crazy.
Shane only draws cats now. Could be. Kevin Smith made Batman piss his pants. Was he the one that did that? I heard about that. I didn't.
I think whack.
Yeah, again, awesome silhouette there.
And this is where you start getting kind of like the Weapon X, Weapons Plus vibe. Like you get the professor there with the glass silhouette.
Yeah. That's just, I love shots like that.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple. It gets the point across so well. I mean, the glasses, just the hatching on the glasses to make them kind of catch the light and everything. Badass.
Yeah, I wonder how much weed he was smoking.
Oh, I bet a lot. I mean, it's a rocker, man. You know,
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. You know, back when I used to smoke weed, I tried drawing and smoking weed, and
It's fun.
it was good. It worked. I liked it. It got me more focused. I agree with Malin. He could use all the help he can get. You talking about Shane or talking about?
Yeah, he's saying I could use all.
Oh, Malin needs all the help. Oh, I see.
Oh, obligatory band reference number
That's
1
right.
tonight.
I used to play in a band, but it wasn't emo. Yeah, it definitely wasn't emo. It's heavy metal, baby. Heavy fucking metal.
All right, show tunes.
Hell yeah. Pit issue 7. We got ink still. Dale Keown. Everything. Oh, changing up the colors. We got Steve Olaf doing the colors on this. I guess I didn't realize that till right now. Huh. That's pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, all the optics. Yeah.
But still badass. I think this is one of my favorite issues. They're all my favorite issue. I know. I keep saying it. But it's true.
What was the last issue? Was the last issue also Steve Olaf? Could you check on that real quick? Because I had noticed, if you remember when Chiodo was doing all that uplighting. Oh, it is Chiodo.
Nope, Chiodo.
Yeah, because he in those earlier issues, remember how he's using that gold, like he was always being lit underneath by like fire, even when he was just in different environments. But in that one, it was actually just more. I think it was like almost just kind of red uplighting or that kind of more flesh tone uplighting, so a little bit more subdued.
Antoine says Dale could have used a little bit more reference with that polar bear, and nobody likes drawing animals. Remember Jim Lee said he hated drawing animals.
It's a good. Hold on, can we look at it real quick?
Yeah,
the polar bear. Like that's a fine drawing. The only thing is it doesn't have like all the extra aggressive lines in it. You know, it's a perfectly fine drawing of a polar bear. But for the guy drawing Pitt, you'd be like, all right, well, put in some hatch here, put in some double lighting here, make it a fucking epic polar bear. So when you draw a perfectly fine and adequate polar bear, I guess that's the response.
Makes me want to eat a Klondike.
Yeah, Dale, I think did send me, Dan did send me a link for some edibles. I think he did.
Oh, right. So, yeah, I heard him talking about the how he made them. It sounded. Although I don't mess around with edibles too much, and I've had bad experience with them.
But this was like when I was talking about vibes for the issue. This one kind of reminded me of like almost like Blue Team, Jim Lee, X-Men, like the pose and them jumping out of the plane a little bit.
Yeah,
this one, I'm not gonna high five on this double page spread. I feel like Dale could have went in and done like a bazillion more lines for that wind, like going all the way into the background. But also, I think Olaf now could have gone in and helped carry some of that weight and just do that in the coloring phase. So both kind of are a bit of a letdown here.
I was about to say that the Gone is the Chiodo kind of underlighting that he did. I like the overall pose of Pitt. I think is awesome. But I definitely I see what you're saying.
Even a Dutch angle would have helped on this for it being a double page spread. This is like a panel. You know, it's a panel that's blown up. It doesn't have that extra dynamic to it.
Hold on a second. Sorry if I'm quiet.
But just the way
I'm tinkering behind the scenes here with this.
The way how Pitt kind of looks in that, it kind of like reminds me of like how Glenn Danzig feels like anytime he goes up on stage. A little self-righteous, like it just has a Danzig vibe to it.
I was like, short? I don't get it.
No, not shorts.
Okay.
Could you send that to me? I would appreciate that.
Yeah, Sean wants the edible recipe there, everybody. It's
I know the
reminiscent
recipe. That was a place to buy them.
The Hulk in the Pantheon. I don't know if I. Oh, Olaf. Yeah.
Pull your weight.
Throw some pigeons in it. There you go.
It's not John Woo. It's
could
in the
definitely
Arctic.
Could definitely have some pigeons. Yeah, pigeons work.
They're
purity.
Arctic pigeons.
Purity. Pigeons symbolize purity. The purity of the mission. You gotta have that. Yeah, this was.
But I kind of dug this. Like they're talking about like this whole plan of attack and how they're gonna get Bobby out and they're gonna free Timmy and the grandpa. And Pitt just kind of just goes, nah, I got this. Like you guys are only gonna slow me down. So it kind of reminded me like of a moment where like it's like Wolverine with the X-Men team. He's like, I gotta go take care of this shit. Like you guys sit back, let me handle it. All you're gonna do is get in my way.
Yeah, and didn't Wolverine? I maybe I'm making this up. Didn't he also use his claws at least one time to like scale a building, like punch it into the structure? And
I'm sure he probably did. I can't think offhand, but
In the
he had
cartoon,
to.
I know he did that.
Like every time.
Well, yeah.
And to slow down.
Well, I mean, that leans into the Wolverine influence with this character, you know, like Wolverine, Lobo, and the Hulk. You know, it really Dale did a great job of incorporating a lot of cool aspects with Pitt from other characters. But still, I mean, Pitt still carried himself as his own, you know, his own character.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it as a knock at all. Like, yeah. Yeah, those are pretty good sound effects. I think the color of there's a little too much white, a little too much gradient. Like that's something too. Is like where you see the Bram, BRAM, like the top is so dark and then the bottom is so white. If you just take that thing and turn that into much more of just kind of mid-tones instead of those two extremes, the lettering will work a lot better. So like Wham is actually better than Bram because it's more mid-tone, less white and less dark.
Huh. That was a great lesson.
But he just like jumps in the middle of this fray and just starts getting the crap beat out of him. It was just kind of like literally he just landed.
Yeah, this is why I like having John talk about a lot of stuff, because there's a lot of things when it comes to the overall aspect of the book in general that get lost when we just focus on the art, the colors,
even
letters.
That WUD up top, panel 1, where it says WUD, too dark.
Yeah,
like, it's getting lost. But if you look at crack on the left of that, like that's a great crack. Like the coloring on there, it works perfect. Puff or Path, a little bit too light.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Mm-hmm. You wanted to sit above, you know, but you don't want it to be like, you don't want the lettering to actually become part of your extreme foreground and part of your extreme background all at the same time. So stick them into that mid range. And it doesn't have to be that dark, doesn't have to be that light. Keep it in the mid-range.
This was another one of those panels that kind of much like in issue 2, where it's a silent panel, no sound effects, no speed lines, but there's enough. The way he drew everybody shows as much action as you need to know what's going on in this panel.
But I always like that within a pit fight where it's starting to scale up. Like all he's just trying to do is beat him, kind of knock him out, and then we get to the next page where he's like hitting him with the disruptor. He's like, okay, I was trying to play fair. I was trying to hold back a little bit, but fine. If you guys are really going to push the issue, claws are coming out. You're all going to die.
Oh, I appreciate the Richard C. Myers shout out there too.
The
Zach.
Oh, Zach.
Your boy.
Zach Sam.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on, Past Master Dan?
Little Harry Potter reference there.
Yeah. Dale was down with the crack. Is everybody down with the crack?
And that's what I mean. Like
Shelby.
the minute,
And then,
like,
hey, look at that. God damn.
like they thought they had him with the disruptor, and all you did was just piss him off.
Look at that fucking red on him, man. That's insane. That's beautiful stuff right there.
Yeah, this was this actually might have been this was the image I used for the first episode last week, which is, man,
Yeah, that's like
so awesome.
Great comic book horror lighting, you know, or like Creep Show, you know, like it's just gonna turn red because it's so fucking dangerous. I love it.
That's so
That would have been
cool.
great for a skateboard, for a deck. That image up top, that would have been awesome.
Ethan, all caps, skateboard.
All caps skateboard. Yeah. Yeah, this was just a fuck you up moment in this kind of like what Steve was saying. Like he's done fucking around, claws are out, and he goes through these guys like a hot knife through butter, just fucking.
And what this reminded me of, and it took me a
decimation.
Minute, like it kind of reminded me of like that Hellfire Club scene in like X-Men 133, like the John Byrne one, where he's just going through all the Hellfire, like kind of like henchgoons, and he's beating the shit out of them in the sewers.
Yeah, sparkles. Yeah, definitely a poster. That's a poster moment.
Especially that pose right there. That kind of reminds me of that Wolverine pose when he's in the sewers.
Another great like kind of down shot there, just the devastation. Just, man, awesome.
Inspiring stuff.
Is tilted just enough where you could still draw a nice face.
Yeah, that's an interesting angle. Yeah, because man, Angles, I mean, angles are no joke. When you're doing perspective in a comic book, it's no joke. You do it wrong, and it's going to look really, really off. You do it right, it's going to look great. And even sometimes an angle doesn't have to be like perfect to get the point across, but it still just kind of sells everything. But man, yeah, that is just, again, much like the cover of number 5, when you just have all this green blood, but just all this blood all over the place. Just great detail. I mean, God, dude's so awesome.
Yeah, see, I look at all that and everything on there is fucking great, and then I look at that leg and I'm like, that thing's a little bit not right. But
the leg,
yeah, there's a weird bend. Like the lower leg is longer or seemingly than the upper leg, and there's just some fucking going on in there. But everything else on there is fucking banging, And but I see that leg, I'm just like, what the fuck?
Then we go to the next page, and like the grandpa now is not even phased, like at all, like what he just saw, because he's already seen Pitt like go to work before. Like just the look on his face is just like just baseline. Like he's like, I've seen this shit before. And then he's kind of bitching that Pitt gives him his glasses and they're kind of busted, but he's like, I'll make do.
Middle movies, Bruce says that back though.
On Grandpa?
Yeah, legs kind of yeah, Grandpa.
Damn.
But look at that foot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, guy had the foot in there. Oh no, man, no.
And then another reveal at the end.
Look at them gums.
I was just gonna say some more gums and teeth, baby.
No one ever made me want to draw gums more.
And that is Roth.
Yeah, this is gonna be a cool character we're gonna look at next. Shelby, I just want to bring this up. I don't know if this is not gonna focus as much, but I love the cross hatching lighting here that they do, or that Dale did on this head. It reminds me a lot of kind of like how you do. There we go, a little bit better. You do your details in there, and just very just
Steve,
great
Platt
lines
was a big
there.
Fan of that too.
Yeah, yep. I wish I could cross hatch like that.
Got it.
When you're doing something like that, I know you use pens. What kind of pens would you use for something like that to get those lines specifically, do you think? Because you have some, by the way, if anybody hasn't checked out Shelby's work, definitely do it. Does fantastic. That's why we only get the best on this show. But
what do you mean for hatching?
Yeah, for hatching.
I'm pretty sure he was just using a 102.
So he was using a nib. What do you use?
I use whatever works. I mean, I'll use. I like to use nibs on outlines, and then on interior work, I usually build my lines. I think most artists do nowadays. It's just less mess. But I'll use everything. I'll use Faber-Castles. I'll use these uni pens. Yeah, Faber-Castles. Pretty much anything. Whatever works.
I like it. Doesn't Keown use a brush primarily? I have no idea. Then go
On
back
the Hulk,
with white.
he did.
Did he with the Hulk?
The hair he was for sure.
Yeah, wasn't someone saying that in that first issue he was using more brush? Last time we were talking about this in issue 1, wasn't that? I could have sworn someone said that.
Yeah, I
probably. You could tell whenever he gets those the really crusty outlines. That's usually brush.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I was younger, I used to think that he was just not erasing pencils, but then I saw a couple originals at some point.
Malin can barely remember what a pen is.
I use a G pen. That's it. That's
Good point.
And that's like the default pen in Manga Studio.
Yeah,
I keep it real simple, guys.
A 10, right? Just to essentially the 10 points.
Here we go. And I love this opening dialogue that the grandpa's having with Pitt.
30.
And that's where he gets like the busted up glasses, and then Pitt's like, well, yeah, you got busted glasses, but you're probably not gonna like what you're gonna see because of all the decimation that's like he's just causing throughout the entire fortress.
So we got Dale still inking himself in this. We got Chiodo's back, but there's also Brian Hammerlin's on here. They got a ton of guys listed under the colors. I'm like, that's a lot. Look at all that. It's all colors.
Well,
That's
it took him
crazy.
a year to put that issue out, so
Yeah, I know there's giant gaps here. Like I didn't see those December to April.
I'm not throwing shade, by the way. I'm just saying.
I was gonna say, I don't think. I mean, everybody knows that the issues that Pitt had coming out. It's just that's why we only got 20 issues. Imagine if we had gotten years of Pitt. If he had stuck on it like long time, like fuck, it'd been awesome if he stuck on it as long as like Eric Larson did. Except not suck.
Yeah, well, Larson can draw like what are 100 and some odd issues wherever he's at because his style is fucking retarded.
Yeah. How do those fonts look to you? I can't really tell, but the copy looks small. What do you mean?
The balloons.
I think they're talking the text
font inside the balloons.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fine.
I mean,
There's
it works.
A lot of empty space in there.
It reads fine. I mean, you can definitely read it. Yeah, I'm pissed off with my camera here. It was way better last week. It's just not.
We almost need that as a sound effect moving into the next episodes.
It's another awesome down shot there.
But I like on the right page where it's like Grandpa's kind of yelling to Pitt, and he's all like, "Hey man, like do what you got to do, and then if you got to rip their heads off, go ahead, just rip their heads off." And then Pitt kind of turns around and it's like,
"Okay,
gave me permission, as you wish." Like so, little tip of the hat to the Princess Bride, and starts slaughtering them.
Princess Bride. Terrible.
Anybody want a peanut? Thank you. Yeah, one thing I'll say about this issue, that I feel like Dale started pulling back from a little bit of the detail. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still great detail in here, but the amount of cross-hatching and detail you go into, like with the body and muscles and all that, I feel like he kind of pulled back a little bit, maybe for time-wise.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a different feel to the art than we saw previously.
Well, it's a much slower style, so
yeah,
when you know that you're basically what kind of pace you're looking at, that's why I kind of wish that books don't just run indefinitely. When you're a slower guy, and if he plotted everything out to where we're like, I don't know, issue 10 or issue 20, we're like the big conclusion of everything, and then it's gone, then I'd almost rather have that one complete story instead of just things that keep going on.
Yeah. Yep. I feel you. Now this was a great shot. Again with that. So Chiodo's back. You got some great underlighting in my opinion. That red again, menacing, very menacing. And this one he did. I mean, he backed off a little bit on the detail, but the same kind of the cross hatching and stuff is all there. Like you could definitely see that some of the panel work he was pulling off a little bit of detail than he might have had previously. You can definitely see that, but then he'll lean into something like this and still give. I mean, there are a few guys in my opinion that draw veins very well. Dale is one of the ones that do it the best.
Yeah, and I wonder if maybe he's turning it on because it's the pinup page and that's better resale value. But I mean, a lot of the Pitt, he's like getting polar bear level details going on, which is fine. He's still a perfectly well drawn Pitt. He looks fucking awesome. His form is always there, distinct. But that's where Dale's real magic was at. Was doing all that cross hatching.
Yeah,
I don't want to see Platt without his cross hatching either. Yeah,
no, that's a great point. I mean, there's certain artists that established that they do it so well. They established it, and when they kind of pull back from it,
it's more
it's not
work.
Bad.
It's more work, but like I said, just plan one great definitive story and close the book on it, and then if you want to come back to it later, then again, one definitive story, kind of like maybe a Hellboy or something like that.
Right.
But I kind of dig like that Roth is really just a distraction for Pitt so they can have the whole process because like the professor's trying to get Xiphoid to manifest again and kind of give him a body because he's still kind of like he can't be killed, but so he possesses other people. So while all this is going on, this fight's going on, the side thing that's happening inside the fortress is they're kind of using the spirit that's inside Timmy to be a catalyst to bring back Xiphoid inside Bobby's cop partner, Smithers.
Yeah, he got a raw deal in this story. He got a raw deal. This was again pulled back on a little bit of the detail, but still just pose wise. There was
now here I would say this is a good example of the color starting to pull the weight, though, because you see that double lighting going on like his chest side. It's still there. If that was all flesh tone, it wouldn't be as great.
Yeah. It's just, man. Yeah, Dale was. I mean, if you're gonna do a character like this, you got to have like those pinup moments in each issue, and there was never a lack of it.
Well, even if you're doing X-Men, you should have your big pinup moment, or Wolverine, tearing through somebody.
Chauncey said, "Back in the snow." Shelby's thinking, what would you do for a Klondike bar? Is that true, Shelby?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, there was the inset from the cover there too on that previous page.
Oh yeah, yep.
Because when I saw that, I saw how opened it looked, and I was wondering how small that panel was actually going to be, but it's actually not that small a panel because it was almost like a J. Scott Campbell version of like Pitt. I was like, it's going to be small. Nah, it's not that small. The open line stuff.
That's what I was almost kind of wondering. I don't see any other credits for inks on here, but I almost wonder if he had anybody helping him out with this issue, because there's some times where it doesn't quite look exactly like how Dale would do certain things. Like there's just, man, why is that not focusing? So sometimes I just wonder in some of these issues if he had a little bit of help with the inking, because there's just
possible
a little bit.
Then this is the other part of the storyline where we start kind of getting into the X-Force kind of X-Men team part of the story, where it's like Bobby and the Axiom guys kind of running amok inside the fortress trying to free Timmy.
Timmy. Yeah, so we got some cool art here, but
you got Bobby with some crazy like futuristic cable guns.
The good stuff.
Yeah, I would say let's get to good stuff. We came here for.
And then look, Pitt's little buddy that tried to grab him in the beginning is now helping him out with his little blasters. Don't worry, Pitt. I'll help you.
Hey, it makes him feel special. You gotta give it to him.
With my strong little forearms.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, that's true. I mean, like, look at my forearms.
Oh, I like this part. This was kind of like the manga moment where, like, Timmy wakes up and then just blasts everybody out of the room and blasts Xiphoid out again off the planet. But the problem is he kind of like knocks Pitt literally into orbit.
Yeah, I always thought that was cool as hell. Sending him up into, destroy that fucking thing. While the chick on the left is definitely wielding a 90s style. Yeah, 90s style guns, man. Like, I liked 90s style guns, all right? Because he had like that high tech, the unrealistic manga feel, whatever you want to say. But
I thought it was funny because, like, I don't know, one of those shootings happened, and I remember somebody was going after Rob for like drawing guns. And he's like, "Don't blame me. I've been drawing vacuum cleaners."
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Yep.
And then this is like the little, like, I'm going to hit you with some truth moment where Pitt is talking to Jareb. And he kind of goes like, "Hey, Pitt, like, your mission's here on Earth. You kind of set me free to the point where I can go do my thing and help fight the fight against the Creed on the other side of space. But your mission is here. You're on Earth. Earth's your home now. And by the way, I'm going to hit you up with some truth." And he kind of just like hits him upside the head a little, like, boop, like at the end. And then we don't know what that's going to be till issue 9.
Coloring in the last panel bugs me just because this kid is glowing blue, like, clearly. And there's no blue on the front of Pitt's face.
Yeah,
why not just color that blue, and then you can backlight where? See, they put the blue on the back, but it's like you could have lit that with the flesh tone and let the front be blue.
And again, it's interesting that there were so many different colorist assistants in this issue. So
it's kind of like a little 2001 where he's talking to the space child.
So this kind of overall, the first two story arcs pretty much ran together. This wraps everything up and sets us on a completely different story going forward, kind of exploring the relationship between Pitt and Timmy.
But it's kind of like one of those like token ends of an action movie. Like, what are you gonna do now? You're free. I'm gonna do whatever I want with family.
With it's like the end of a Van Damme movie or something.
Yeah.
You know,
Now, has he just put in the ponytail for the first time here, or has he been wearing it in previous issues? Because I seem to only recall it being the long, stringly hair, but now it's got that pulled back Seagal stuff going.
I feel like he had the ponytail in issue 2.
And he has 30% less chains.
But that's kind of interesting when he decided
no
to do
chest chains.
Yeah. Well, yeah, going forward, you're going to see less and less chains. Like I said, I think he always kept the forearm chains, but he dropped a lot of the other chains.
Yeah, well, he'd never really used them for anything, you know? I mean, like even the wristband chains, it's like if there was more of a purpose, like Spawn could kill people with those chains, and Pitt has them wrapped around his chest like fucking, what is it, a bandolier? Is that the word I'm looking for? All the Mexican rounds, but he never did anything with them. So
even Ghost Rider used his chains to
it's a weird
fight enemies
statement.
Because Pitt doesn't need the chains; they're just there for accessories.
Yeah. He's so badass.
Yeah, the waist one might have made sense. Maybe he was using it as a belt.
So. Yeah, it's better than a piece of rope.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the belt aspect. Yeah, that made a lot more sense. Oh yeah, look at that. However you pronounce his shooter. Look at that.
So, I think that's a nod, just because of who Keown is with his music background. There is a metal band called Voivod that I think he's.
No shit.
Yeah.
Newstead,
you can look him up.
Wasn't that a Newstead band or something? Voivod. Yeah,
Voivod, and a lot of their covers was like, just Google them, look them up. Yeah,
I'm on it.
Yeah, they were. I had a roommate back in the day who was into them. So as soon as I saw Voivod, I was like, oh, that's really interesting.
Ooh, they're Canadian too. Voivod.
Yeah, he's probably a fan.
Oh yeah, definitely look like a metal band. That's cool. That's a bit of information I never knew. That's pretty badass. Shelby dropping bombs.
Joe, knowing is half the battle.
That is true. That's what I've heard. But yeah, that's there you go, guys. That's Pitt 5 through 8. Probably one of my favorite runs of the story there. I absolutely love the art. Yes, every single issue is my favorite, and that's going to continue as we go.
It had the team arc story kind of with Axiom, so like really hitting home kind of that 90s vibe where everybody was really digging X-Men, X-Force. You know, he was like, well, if people dig Axiom, maybe something could come of it, but if not, then they were just a throwaway within Pitt. They got him to the Antarctic. He took a jet ride from him.
Yeah. It was cool to see Pitt taken out of New York City and into different areas there. And moving forward, we got one more issue before Dale Keown officially leaves Image and goes full Bleed Studios, and then you're going to see more. I think I haven't read those books in a long time, but I think he does a lot more of the color work. I want to say
Newstead jam with them from 2001 to 2006. Look at that.
Oh no shit. Yeah, I was just going to say I
pulled that one out of the memory hole. Wow.
Yeah, it's badass. What's up, Elliot? Yeah, definitely catch the replay, brother. Honorable mentions. I always thought that Pitt's appearance in Gen 13 was awesome, and it's just a great cover there. I thought J. Scott Campbell did a great drawing there of Pitt. So get a chance to go check that out. And of course,
he did all right. We can't do the gums.
That's a good point, but few can. Big shout out to my boy Mark Silvestri here, who put Pitt on issue 3 of Cyberforce. This was also a very cool guest appearance by Pitt. I don't know in the early 90s if they really knew what Pitt's story was, but because it was Image, they had the ability to borrow characters, I guess. I don't know how that all worked, but the reason for Pitt being in this issue I thought was kind of odd when you actually look at the series of Pitt, but art-wise, I mean, seeing Silvestri draw Pitt was great fun. So get a chance to go out and check those out. All right, guys, we got next Tuesday. We're going to jump back and do issues. Well, oh, hey, I don't need to be the star of the show. There we go. Oh, we got issues 9 and 10 are kind of like a filler before we get into a new story arc starting in 11. So we might do more than just 4 next time just to kind of knock this out. But we're getting close to getting to the end of the run. All 20 issues of Pitt, fantastic art through and through. The story depends on what you want out of the story. I just like good, entertaining stuff. It's like, again, doesn't have to be Shakespeare. You don't have to break the the wheel. You don't have to show me anything new. Just give me something fun. Give me some awesome art.
How smart I am with my words.
Exactly. So like the stories in the 90s were just fine with me. Just fine with me. As long as it was good art and there was no shortage of awesome art in the 90s. So
there was
doing
action, there was suspense, and there was family.
So doing a series like this when we can really look at some of the talented artists from the 90s that really inspired everybody on this panel, as far as artists go, is really fun for me. Having guys on like Jon and Shelby from an artist point of view, guys that were in the industry, that saw a lot of this stuff happen, as it did, is really cool to get that perspective. I know Shelby was at Extreme Studios. I'm assuming when Pitt came out. Shelby?
Well, it came out like 2 years. So like 4 issues. 4 issues were already out.
Okay.
I think 4 issues were out. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but you got to see it like firsthand when it was happening, and that's that's awesome. You get cool perspectives like that. Just
quite honestly, you would have to ask Frege about it, but a lot of Dale transitioning from Marvel to Image was Rob had a lot to do with that. I'm not sure in what context, but yeah, Frege might know some other tales about his whole, coming over to Image. But I know Rob was involved with that. Yeah.
I know from one of Rob's podcasts, he was talking about when he approached Dale to come and do something for Extreme and bring something over, which is, I think, why the backup story in Youngblood 4 was essentially Pitt half. That's where the character launch was in Youngblood. So yeah, Rob did a great job of bringing a lot of people over. He brought Stephen Platt over, Dale Keown, Jay Lee.
You know who else? Yeah. You know who else might be nice to hear from while we're doing this Pitt perspective is Dale Keown.
Yeah, that would be. Yep.
Like, look, man, if Ethan stops gatekeeping me from Dale, that'll probably be one of the things I'll try to do. I'll try to get him to come on here for
wrap this whole thing up.
Wrap up. Yeah, after we're done picking it apart, then he can come in here and he can tell us like what were some of the thoughts going on with the inking and whatnot. Dude,
that would be awesome. If you want to see me cry, I'll do the Kevin Smith. If Dale Keown wants to come on here, I would definitely do the Kevin Smith.
That'd be cry and splooge all at once.
Yeah, I just like
pure pants.
So basically,
emotions coming out of orifices left and right.
Yeah, basically what I'm saying, if it doesn't happen, blame Ethan.
I will. So everybody go on
somehow
Twitter.
Shane, right? Just to make sure.
Yeah, it's probably Shane Davis. He's probably conspiring against me. Yeah.
What everybody needs to do is go on Twitter and then get a hashtag going of bring Jon Malin and Dale Keown together and tag EVS in it. So let's make this happen because we could be the beneficiaries of that great meeting. So
Malin
make
Pitt
it happen,
militia.
everybody. Yeah. He will hold Dale over your head for another month at least. Woo, got the power. Wow. He's drunk with power, people. Cry like a bitch, Joe. Yeah, I would, Mike. I absolutely would. That dude is one of my heroes, hands down. The old Malin would never allow himself to be gatekept. Oh man.
Sounds like we got to extend an invite to Mr. Frege, and hopefully maybe we can get him too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd love to get Dan on here sometime. I know he's crazy busy a lot of times. This went from blame Malin to a new blame Ethan and Shane.
Yeah, see how I steer that narrative? Look at that.
Yeah. The Dale and Malin.
Regular spin doctor.
Dale and Malin.
Yeah, make that a hashtag and put that on Twitter. Let's make this happen, people.
It's going to be the new podcast that will develop the new friendship that will lead to new family.
Yeah, we gotta get these. It's like the gatekeeper and the keymaster. That we gotta get these.
We got some Ghostbusters level shit going on. We got Gozer.
Yeah, we gotta get
Who's
these
wearing
two
a
together.
skirt?
I still blame Cecil.
I'm the keymaster, man. That's what. That's all I'm saying.
Are you a god? No, he's godlike.
God. Oh,
Yeah.
nice one.
Oh,
Nice one. Got that one.
ah,
Hell yeah. They call that
Jiu-jitsu.
jujitsu. Man, I can't
Yeah.
fucking.
Yeah.
I can't handle too many J's and I's. The dyslexia throws it all over the place. It looks like jumbled to me.
Man, I said decolletage, and I think you guys were losing your mind on the last odd and
I
stuff.
don't know what the
yeah,
fuck
that was wild.
decolletage
Don't
is.
do that ever again.
Yeah, don't ever throw big words in the chat
We're
like that, man.
dyslexic.
That's a huge word. What does that mean? Decolletage.
It's the accentuation of cleavage on a woman.
Oh goddamn.
Why don't you just say cleavage?
Yeah, for tits.
Yeah, yeah.
I try to look smart. Try.
Well,
You know who your friends are.
yeah.
yeah. All right. It's boobies.
Okay.
There you go. That's all you need. That's all you need. All right, guys. I appreciate everybody for being here. Next Tuesday at 10, we're going to be looking issues, I want to say 8 through 13, I believe. I think is the next kind of story arc we'll go into. So if you're enjoying this, please subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell for notifications, share it around. I think this is going to be really fun for anybody that hasn't seen some of these later issues of Pitt. And that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this series, because a lot of people saw the early issues, the 1 through 4, maybe even the stuff we show now. But when he pulled away from Image and started doing his own company, it was scarcer printing runs, and they came out later and later. So a lot of people might not have seen some of this art that he came out with, but it's awesome stuff, and I want everybody to see it, especially now that he's part of CG. I think it's anybody that's learning of Dale now or is reacquainting with him for the first time after a while, this is a must-see for your collection. And if you get a chance to go out and find these issues like Steve did, go get them on eBay, wherever you can get them, because they are a must-have for your collection if you're a Dale Keown fan. Boobies. Yeah, I love boobies.
Decolletage.
All right, guys, thank you so much for showing up, everybody. To Jon Malin, everybody check out Godlike when that's going to drop here probably in a few weeks. Shelby Robertson, he's got Ragetality. That's it, right? It's just called Rage.
Ragetality. It's in demand.
I was about to say, is that over? Like, did I? Yeah, that's okay. It's in demand.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't want to say like everybody go check it out if it's over. My bad. Yeah, so it's in demand. Everybody check out those two things. Type 1 for Sean. He's got a preview book.
I got some news coming tomorrow on art and stuff with that, so exciting stuff. And we also have the Wolfen stuff fan art contest for Mark Polton's Viking Wolf for Indiegogo. Please jump on that on the Indiegogo, and fan art contest where you draw a Viking Wolf, tag Joe, myself, or Mark with the hashtag Wolf in Stuff on art and stuff. And yeah, have a couple more days on that. Damn.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. It's in that Silvestri.
Yeah.
Look. Yeah. We got OCC, who's got his own channel. Everybody check him out. He does some great geek news every week. He'll have guests on there to do I've been on there. Sean's been on there. I'm sure
gentlemen have been on here.
More and more people on there. Good channel.
Talking about
good channel.
geek
Fun
news. I'm going to be doing a review of Sovereign Wolf, kind of talking about that from being the backer's perspective and just kind of doing a nice review of it. But other than that, I try to talk about pop culture, and more importantly, I try to talk about Comicsgate, this crazy group that we all are a part of in some different way, shape, or form, that we all enjoy being either a fan, being a content creator. You buy the ticket, you take the ride. It's more than just buying a book. It's about participating in an event. So,
True. Yep.
Yeah, the new router. I finally got it fixed. No problems tonight. So I'm excited about that. And I look good. Before we get out of here real quick, update, John. I know you for anybody new, I know you're not going to do anything with Godlike until Graveyard Shift 3 is fulfilled, but how are we looking there on the timeline?
Yeah, we're at the printer right now for Graveyard Shift Volume 3. I wrote them again today for delivery date. They sent me a dispatch date. That doesn't tell me when my books are getting here, though. So I'm waiting for them to give me an arrival date, and then I can set it up with Mark, and we can start getting him out here to sign all the books, and then we'll start shipping. Right now, I'm telling people August 1st, give or take a week.
Nice. So right around the corner, everybody. And I know it's a very anticipated campaign. So, all right, everybody, enjoy your night. I know Bancroft is probably streaming right now, so if you get a chance, go over there, watch his show. And next Tuesday, we'll catch you later. Oh, wait, Wednesday, tomorrow, 9 o'clock, Ott and Stuff on the Ott and Stuff channel. We'll be doing a Wednesday hangout. Come join us for that conversation. Thank you so much for everybody joining us. I really appreciate it. Appreciate the chat. It's been fun. This has been great for me. And every one of these issues is my favorite issues. So I'll talk to you all later.
Love it.
I love it. I love it. And as always,
Timmy.
Timmy.